Good morning, Central Texas. Welcome to KISS Community Connections at 1031. I'm Phyllis Jones, your host for this morning. And this morning, we're going to talk about the census. We haven't talked about it in a couple of weeks there, but you know what? Since this lovely pandemic, some things about the census has changed. Not the way you do it, but some of the dates have changed. So this morning, we're going to talk to Mr. Jerome Garza. He's the Assistant Regional Census Manager. Good morning, Jerome. How are you doing?
Good morning, Miss Jones. I am wonderful and so happy to be with everyone of Bell County and the surrounding counties.
Yes.
Good morning.
Because we have a lot of questions.
I'm ready to rock and roll.
Okay.
Of course, before we get started,
Yes.
just want everyone to know, I want to ask one question.
Sure.
And the question is, do everyone believe in the U.S. Constitution? If you answered yes, that's why we do the census. Article 1, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution states that we shall count all the population, all people who reside in the United States every 10 years, and the agency that does that is the Census Bureau. So I am so happy to be here and talk about the 2020 census, the easy opportunities. So for the first time ever, you have 3 easy ways to answer the census. You go online, 2020census.gov. You can go on the phone, 844-330-2020, and answer the census. Or, in many of the households, we've already started to mail questionnaires to households who have not answered the census. And it's 10 easy questions. The first one, what's your name? Jerome Garza, you're halfway there. 9 other questions to go. Miss Jones, what else do you have to ask?
Okay. I know you said everybody in the person's household. Does that include non-citizens?
I beg your pardon, the question?
Oh, you said everyone in a household, is counted in the census. What is that? What about the non-citizens people?
If you live in the United States, we send a questionnaire to every household. If you live here, you are to be counted. Let's say that your cousin just moved in with you as a result of what's going on in today's environment. April 1, your cousin lives with you, you count your cousin. Let's say your cousin had a baby on March the 28th and still in the hospital. Guess what? You count that baby. That's all part of the census. If they reside here, we count everybody, and they're part of the census, and that's in the U.S. Constitution.
So what about the homeless?
In the questions that we are asking, there are 10 easy questions that we have. The first question we ask is, what's your name? The second question we're asking is, do you reside in a home or do you reside in an apartment? And then we ask other questions. We do not ask for your Social Security number. We do not ask for your banking financial information. We do not share the information in the census. It is totally confidential. And we don't share it with the INS. We don't share it with the IRS. We don't share it with the Department of Justice, nor can any of those agencies go to court and obtain any of the information that you provide for the census. It is totally confidential. When we provide the information out to the public, it's in statistical form. So basically what we're saying, in that census tract, we have 10,000 people who reside here. X percentage of these people are over the age of 65. X percentage are under the age of 5. Why is that important? If you're a school district, you want to know how many people live in Killeen that are under the age of 5, because you want to plan for that elementary school 5 years from now, 6 years from now, so that they're able to have a school once they're of school age. That's how the census works. That's how it helps your community. People say, Jerome, why should I answer the census? 2 reasons. Money, representation. Every 10 years, the House of Representatives will use the census data to reapportion the number of representatives in the House of Representatives. They don't increase the number, they reapportion it. In 2010, Texas was very fortunate to add congresspersons to Texas. In 2020, all depends on everyone answering the census and what the numbers are. Money. Every year, the federal government distributes back to local communities like Killeen, like Bell County, in excess of $675 billion. What does it fund? Schools, hospitals, firehouses, roads to and other types of health services. If any of those things are important to you, go answer the census today. www.2020census.gov. It's 10 easy questions. The census is now offered in English and 12 other languages if you go online. If you call on the phone, it's offered in English and 12 other languages. So it's easy, it's convenient, and 10 easy questions.
So how do you count the homeless?
That is a special operation in group quarters. Originally, we were going to do it in the April 1 timeframe. However, because of COVID, we have extended out that deadline. So later this summer, we will be doing that. What we have been doing since 2010 is we had a list of possible locations that many of those individuals do. Every year, we work with local cities and counties to identify new locations. And in addition to that, what we've done over the past year is we have partnership specialists that have been working with many nonprofit agencies to help us identify locations and agencies which help many of the homeless. So when we do that enumeration, and we will go out and do it, in the time frame of, at night, we will use all that data and go and enumerate all those persons.
Okay, and another question, though, how about we have battered women shelters. So how do they get counted?
That is also part of our group quarters. That is the confidential information, and the individuals that we have working with that program do take an oath of confidentiality. It is not shared with the rest of the office. There are very few people that only do that. Once again, what we have done throughout 2010 is we deal with each of the local jurisdictions, and we ask them about those types of organizations, and we keep it confidential. And that is in our database, in a different part of the database that not everyone in the census has access to, and we will deal with that one person in each of those organizations personally and enumerate all individuals in there.
Okay. Has the dates for the census changed due to the pandemic?
That's a great question. The date of the census has not changed. April 1, 2020 is the census day. The time which you can answer the census, that has changed, and we've extended the deadline. Originally, it was July 31st. Now it's the 31st of October. But guys, we don't want to wait. If you look at Bell County today, 55.3% of the households have already answered the census. And you think, that's a good number. Well, the state of Texas is at 53.9%. So Bell County is exceeding Texas. However, it is below the national average of 59.3% of the households that have answered. And if you look back at 2010, in Bell County, 74% of the households answered the census in 2010. So guys, we have a job to do. Go today. As soon as this interview is over, www.2020census.gov, or go on the phone, 844-330-2020, and answer the census today.
My show, I'm having an event for the homeless in July, on the last Saturday of July. So could I invite somebody down to give out information, to talk about it and everything else?
Well, once again, if with certain populations, if you tell them exactly what you're going to do and where you're going, guess what's going to happen? They're not going to be there. So the date that we are going to be enumerating the homeless is not a fixed date yet.
Right.
We would love to come back and talk to you after we've done that, so we can share with you at least our experience in reaching out.
Right.
Clearly, this is an opportunity that throughout the years we've learned through our best practices and what to do. But once again, we rely very heavily on local jurisdictions and local nonprofits, and our offices have been reaching out to them constantly. We started our operations in the 12th of March, and we began mailing questionnaires to each of the households to give them an opportunity to answer the census. 4 days into it, we suspended all operations due to COVID-19. In the state of Texas, operations are still suspended. and we anticipate reopening on June 1. At that juncture, we will begin the process again of reaching out to the cities, the counties, the nonprofits to let everyone know what our new timelines are going to be and their assistance in other types of activities like, for instance, locations for the homeless and what have you.
So when will we be able to get some information to begin passing out to because we have a lot of events that will start most likely in June. So we would like to pass out information for people who somehow or another miss getting information.
Well, today you can tell people and provide the information of going to www.2020census.gov or call in the phone number 844-330-2020, and they can answer the census today. That can be done today.
Great. Okay. All right. So if they call in and if they threw away the card, calling in is just as good.
You can call in. They're going to ask for your location of where you were residing April 1. You provide that location, and that's how people are enumerated. You know, as we move forward, April 1 is the census day. That's the day that we're looking at, and we count everyone once and only once and in the right place. The right place being where were you residing April 1. If today, on May 15th, you buy a new house and you're now not living in Killeen, but you've moved to Waco, guess what? When you fill out the census, where were you April 1? You were living in Killeen. That's where you want to answer the census. That is the census day.
So with the census, and we're supposed to be filling it out, and the date has been moved back to October, does that change with the population when they go to redistrict?
Once again, April 1 is the census day. When everyone fills out the census, one of the questions we're asking is, were you residing here April 1? The address that we're looking for is April 1. The 31st of October, what that is a deadline. We're allowing people, as a result of COVID, extra time in which to answer the census. And, of course, operations that normally we would already be in the field, we're not, and we're not going to begin in Texas until June 1. Those operations will extend out a little bit longer. That's all that has changed with the census is the deadline in which people that reside in the United States have until the 31st of October to answer it. However, the census day is still April 1. We want to know where you resided on April 1. That's the number we captured. That's the number that we will provide the President of the United States on the December 31st. And then in 2021, those numbers will then be distributed out to the local cities and states.
Is there ever a time that the census information is provided to anyone else, any entity?
Once again, we, by legislation, provide our numbers to the President of the United States December 31st. Thereafter, the date is still in question because it's before Congress. We provide it to the House of Representatives. They, in turn, distribute those numbers from there.
So they
the
only
Census Bureau distributes our numbers to those two entities.
So no one sees the I can't talk. No one sees the actual paperwork that you filled out then. They just get the numbers, correct?
When one fills out the Census Bureau, it is totally confidential. Okay. Not even the President of the United States can go on there and say, I want to see that Phyllis Jones filled out the census in 2020. Cannot happen. The President of the United States cannot see what Phyllis Jones did in 2020 or if Phyllis Jones filled out the census and what was put inside the actual application. It is totally confidential by legislation, by the U.S. Constitution.
Because that's one thing people are, well, I'll say non-citizens, that's what their fear is, that, you know, something will happen, somebody gets to see it, and, you know, they get a knock on the door, which is a giant fear that we're trying to help people overcome that fear. But that's a major fear.
One of the greatest challenges we face today with COVID-19 is people do not want census workers coming to their doors, knocking on them, and asking them questions. The way that we can get around that is go today. Go online, www.2020census.gov. Go on the phone, 844-330-2020 census. If you want it in Spanish, 844-468-2020. And answer the census today. Therefore, you are protecting your safety and health, and you're also ensuring the safety and health of all the census employees that are out there. So that's what we're asking. If you look at Bell County, in 2010, 74% of the households self-answered the question. You look at Coryell, in 2010, 71% of the households answered the census. Today, only 54.3% have answered. You look at Milan County, in 2010, 80.5% of the households answered the census. Today, it's only 39.8% of the households have answered.
Wow.
And that is low because, guess what? They haven't had the opportunity in many of the rural areas of Texas to answer the census yet. On the 12th of March, we began our operation called Update Lead, where we were hand-delivering questionnaires to each of the households. 4 days into the operation, we suspended operations because of COVID-19. In Texas, we anticipate going back out in the 1st of June to begin delivering those questionnaires to each of the households and providing finally an opportunity that they can answer the census. I think it would be great that we come back in July and talk to you and look at many of those rural counties and now see, now that they've been given the opportunity, questionnaires have been delivered to their houses, how many people have self-answered the census. So in the rural areas, the numbers are a little lower. That's correct, because they haven't been delivered a questionnaire. They haven't been given an opportunity to answer the census yet. In the urban areas, as we look at Killeen, as we look at Temple, they have been given the opportunity. Letters have been mailed to them. Postcards have been mailed to them asking to do that, answer the census. Go online, 2020census.gov. Call on the phone, 844-330-2020.
Okay, because that I would say I didn't know the numbers were that low either, so we need to put that out there so that people can get energized in doing the census, and we also need to let them know what else goes with those numbers, because when you said funding, that's a big number. That's a big difference.
Absolutely. It's a huge number, and they fund things like schools, like firehouses, like hospitals. Many SNAP is derived through the number of residents that and the number of people that live in certain communities, and they qualify for these dollars. That's why it's important, number one, to tell people when you answer the census, it's confidential. We don't share it with anyone. Your information is totally confidential on that. Number two, it's important. It brings back money to your community, number one. And number two, it adds to representation. What do you think your school board is going to do once they get the census numbers in 2021? They're going to redistrict and realign all the districts so that they can ensure that you are properly represented in your school districts, in your city councils, in your county commissioners. All of it relies on the U.S. Census. And what we count on April 1, 2020, we live with those numbers for the next 10 years.
Wow. When did the census start and why?
It started back in 1870, and once again, it was written in the U.S. Constitution. Article 1, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution states that we shall count all the population every 10 years, and since that time, Congress has decided the distribution of how the monies are spent for different agencies and how it goes out to the local cities and communities.
Okay. And that's good information, because somebody asked me that, and I was like, I have no clue.
Yeah. And people are asking. We offer the census for the first time on the phone. In 2010, you could call the phone, but someone was guiding you on how to answer the census, and you still had to fill it out. Did we have it online in 2010? We did not.
Right.
All you had in 2010 was just the paper. And now today, there are 3 easy ways. Online, yes, we have the paper that you can mail back, and on the phone. And the 12 languages that we offer are English, of course, Spanish, Chinese, Vietnamese, Korean, Russian, Arabic, Tagalog, Polish, French, Haitian Creole, Portuguese, and Japanese. So for the first time ever, we are offering people the opportunity to answer this census in not only English, but 12 other languages. We're making it easy. Again, we never ask for Social Security number. We never ask for banking and financial information. And we do not share this information. Let's say you live in an apartment. We know that the apartment says only 2 people can live there, but there are 4 students that live in there because that's how you get through college, is sharing that cost.
Right.
Your landlord will not get this information. It is totally, totally confidential. And there's where we really need your help. As we look at people who were in college, and guess what happened? When the colleges closed down, what did they do? They continued their college course, but they did it at home.
Right.
So they're no longer in Temple. They're no longer in Killeen, but they're back home, wherever that may be. We need those students to go online today and fill out the census and put in that Killeen address, put in that Temple address, where they were living April 1 had not COVID-19 occurred, because that population needs to be counted in Temple, needs to be counted in Killeen, and not the home address where the parents are.
Okay. What about, people that are in prison? And they're in prison in, I'll say, Gatesville, because that's close to us. They're in prison in Gatesville, but they live in Killeen. Where are they counted?
All the people that are in institutions are counted in those institutions wherever that may reside. That on April 1. We have a special operation group quarters where we deal with state and federal agencies, so we count all those people there. What's important there in your community? The military. Right. Well, the military that are based there in Killeen, we count them all in Killeen. They may be right now in Europe or another part of the country on a mission, and they've been there for the past 4 months, but guess what? They are counted as part of the population in Killeen, because we have special operations where we deal with a point of contact in each of the military bases and institutions, and we count all people which are stationed at that institution.
Okay, so let's go back to the college kids. Okay, you were saying that they need to be counted where their dorms were or their apartments were before COVID, correct?
Where their apartments were. College students who actually live on campus, that is done differently. They don't need to worry about it. We deal with the college administration. We have a point of contact. That is done administratively. The colleges and universities will provide us all the information with students who live on campus. What I am talked about was the college students who live off campus.
Right.
You may have lived off campus in an apartment. When classes were suspended and everything was done online, many of you decided, I don't need to live in this apartment any longer. I can do this work from home. I'm going back home, wherever it may be. And they're living with their parents. Those students need to be counted back in that address, that apartment where they were in Temple or Killeen, and fill out the census today, not with their parents where they are today, because had COVID-19 not occurred, they would still be in that apartment or that house and be going to college and going to class. That's the address that they need to complete today.
Okay, and what about exchange students?
What about what now?
Exchange students.
All exchange students.
Yes.
Do they reside here while going to college? Yes.
Yes.
They are to be counted. Absolutely. Once again, what we do in the Census Bureau is, if you reside in the United States, where are you living April 1? We count everyone. If you live in a residence here in the United States, the questionnaire is sent to the residents. We ask that you count everyone that resides in that residence.
Okay. All right. Okay, because those are some of the questions that when I put it on my page that I was talking to you. Those are some of the questions that I got back. That I
Those
said,
are great questions. That historically there has been confusion. Uh, Historically, one of the areas where we have undercounted is children under the age of 5. Many times you have grandparents that are raising their grandchildren or their son or daughter's children, and when they answer the census, they say, well, they're not my children. It's my son Jerome's children. Yes, they're residing with me. Guess what? They are residing and living in your household. You are to count them also. So I'm glad you're asking me that question. It's so important that we count all the children this time. So if they're living here, if they were born before April 1, we include them in the census.
and
If they were born after April 1,
right.
they will be in the 2030 census, not the 2020 census.
And foster kids are the same, correct?
I mean, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, foster kids are the same, right?
What are the same now?
Foster kids. The foster kids program.
Oh, foster children.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. If they live in that household, that foster home, they are to be counted there. Absolutely. That's a great question. Yes, ma'am.
And the kids in the orphanage, how are they counted?
That is done through our group quarters. That's a special operation. We do that administratively with a point of contact with those institutions.
Okay. All right. So they're securely counted.
They are counted also. Yeah.
Right.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
You know, historically, our challenges have always been the children under 5 and many of our population over the age of 65. Some don't read and write, and they need assistance. That's why we have a phone number for them. That's why we have neighbors, and we ask that you help your neighbors. Can you help them? You know, with everyone having a phone today, it's easy to call 844-330-2020. 844-468-2020 if you need it in Spanish.
So where can we get the, I had information to pass out, but I've passed it out already. So how can I get more information? Because the information I had, I passed it out.
Vernon is our point of contact. Dealing with Vernon, he will get you electronically everything that you need, so you're able to distribute out in our multiple operations. And as we develop new timelines, we will provide them to Vernon. He, in turn, can provide them to you.
Okay. And also, I'm a member of for the Texas State NAACP, I'm a state officer. So how do we get information also to us? Because, like, for me, I have the whole state to deal with. And so I can also better send information to them. So how we get the same, if we get it the same way?
Either through Vernon, or Vernon will have a partnership specialist that he can assign to you, your organization, and that the same way we can do that. With many of them, our partnership specialists have reached out to many of the local nonprofits and fraternities and sororities, and we are sharing information on a weekly basis electronically. Obviously, it sounds like we haven't done that with you. I would love to have Vernon get a partnership specialist together with you so that we can put your organization on the list and share information on a weekly basis with you.
You know, in Killeen and in Temple, because I go from all the cities all together. But what I find, the missing population that doesn't understand the census is the 18 to 30.
That is clearly a challenge for us. We work through nonprofits, we work through schools, and we work through many, many employers. HEB is a partner of ours. Many of the grocery stores are. What is it? Stripes, the gas station, they're a partner of ours. We reach through many of them. Many of the larger employers throughout the state have come on as partners with us, and they are sharing their information with all their employees that work with them. The challenge that we face is how do we deal with all the mom and pop employers, which are, the majority of employers in the United States, and there's where we have partnership specialists that have gone out. Now we suspended operations the 12th of or around the 15th of March, so they're doing everything by phone and electronic. But I would love to have a partnership specialist visit with you so that what we can do is identify more of the small employers that we need to be reaching out to and sharing information on a weekly basis and sharing with them the website, the phone number on answering the census.
So, okay, you all reach out to the newspapers. What about the same as you just said, the smaller, I guess I said the intercity newspapers, where they're not like, for us, the Clean Daily Herald is the paper, but also there's two smaller papers, that are through other through other organizations and or groups. So they don't get to have that information in their newspaper. So how can we correct that?
Vernon is the main contact, and
Okay.
that is his responsibility, trying to reach out to many of those. And
Okay.
after Vernon talks to every client, the first thing he will always ask is, do you have a friend? Do you have another person in your type of business that I can reach out and help also? And that's how we're doing it, word of mouth, going forward. So you could be a great asset to the Census Bureau by sharing that information with Vernon, so he in turn can reach out to them and put them on a weekly list of providing information.
Okay, well, me and Vern are friends, but yes, I have a list real long to send him.
Beautiful. He's going to love it, and I'm going to love it, because guess what? Bell County at 55.3% of the households, I know we can do better, and we will do better. We just have to share with them how you do it. www.2020census.gov, phone 844-330-2020, call on the phone. Number one, and most importantly, it is confidential. We do not share the information with anyone. No attorney can go to the court and obtain this information. No other governmental agency has access to this information. It is confidential. What does it do? It brings money and representation back to your cities and county governments. It's important. You reside here, you're important. We need to count you.
Is there any reason that the census doesn't have information in people's water bill?
Once again, in many of the cities, I know in the cities of Houston, in the city of Dallas, what they have agreed to do is put inserts in their water bills and their electric bills through the electric companies, and encouraging people to answer the census. I look at educational institutions in South Texas, and what they are doing is with every one of their students as they enroll for the fall classes, the last question that was on there, answer the census. Many school districts, Dallas, Laredo, Houston, San Antonio, for the public schools, as they were registering students, the last question on there is, have you answered the census? Go here to this website and answer the census. We have hundreds and thousands of partners throughout the state of Texas that are doing exactly what you're saying. Have we reached everyone? I guess not.
No.
Are we going to keep trying? Absolutely.
Yeah, because I work for Killeen ISD, and we haven't got. I know. Well, I mean, we're closed, but we still have online. That we have to pay attention to every day. But there's been nothing published about us or the news.
I will make sure that Vernon talks to the partnership specialist and talk to Killeen ISD and get them on board. Because, like I said, if Dallas and Fort Worth and Laredo and San Antonio and Houston can do it, I know Killeen can.
Yeah, and Temple, like both ISDs would be Temple and Killeen. Yes, they could.
Okay.
Yes, because I know that that's not happening because I'm there. Well, I work for Killeen ISD, but also I do know what's going on in Temple ISD because of their education chairs.
Well, beautiful. If you could give Vernon the point of contact in Killeen, that would be most helpful. he will make sure the partnership specialist calls next week and gets the ball moving.
Yeah, because our admins are both admins are back at work, so administrations are
Oh,
open.
beautiful.
Yeah, they're open
Beautiful,
now.
beautiful.
Yes.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Okay, Vernon. Me and you gonna be. I'm gonna email you a list longer than you are.
Okay. I look for it. Well, Vernon's going to be a hero in the Census Bureau because they're going to look up and say, "My goodness, Vernon, what are you doing? You're reaching hundreds and thousands of new people. Thank you, thank you."
That's right. In our area, we have a bunch of organizations that you wouldn't find. If you just Google them, you wouldn't find them. You'd have to know exactly who you're Googling. And the fortunate part of having a community radio show is everybody thinks I need to know everything. So I get to find out everything because people assume that that's what's supposed to happen. So I get to know I know the groups and organizations that aren't public, but they are, you know what I mean? But they're not a 501c3. They're just a plain organization and they don't know what's going on.
Oh my gosh, this has been a wonderful interview. You are helping us so much, Miss Jones. I'm loving you more and more. Vernon, go at it, brother.
I am there.
Yeah. So we have a bunch of them from Temple to Killeen and all together. We do have a bunch of like I said, small organizations, small groups. They do big things, but like I said, if you Google, nonprofits, they wouldn't show up. If you Google for-profits, they wouldn't show up. But yet they are strong in the numbers that they do have. So that'll be a connection. The churches, are churches partnerships too?
Absolutely. They're a big part. I'd probably say in Dallas and Houston, Fort Worth, El Paso, every mega church is already on board and helping us. Most of the bishops in the Catholic Church have come on board, the Methodist Church, the Baptist Church, statewide are partners. But now we need to reach out to the small independent churches throughout.
Okay, so is it possible? Okay, I'll say for me, for NAACP, I'm the state education chair. So like I said, the state's mine, but I hold conference calls with all the branch organizations chairs also. So I hold a conference call with them. Usually it's about 50 of us on the call. So is it possible?
Oh my goodness.
So is it possible that I can host the call because I host them? But is it possible, like either Vernon or he has somebody else?
You bet.
Enter
you bet.
in? Yeah.
Vernon would love to do it. He's there.
Okay, because that's another way. That's another way to reach some of the smaller areas and give them some information to do. Because even though we're education chairs, we're passing along educational information. And we have 17 different committees in the NAACP on the state level. So there's a bunch of us who could also help with help with doing our conference calls and getting out the information also. So we can do that. We can do that. And the other people, our unions are part, is AFL-CIO a part of the partnership?
In the state of Texas, yes, they are. Yeah, well, we have a partnership specialist, Billy Horton, who is our lead with the AFL-CIO.
Okay.
They are very, very much a part of helping the Census Bureau.
Okay. All right. Okay. Because I'm also a union officer. All right. Okay. So once again, can you give us the phone number and the website address that we can all go to if we have?
Once again, I would encourage everybody to go to www.2020census.gov and answer the census. It's offered in English and 12 other languages, or go on the phone, 844-330-2020, and answer the census today. If you did receive a paper questionnaire at your home, 10 easy questions. Fill it out, drop it in the mail. It's totally confidential. In this day and age of COVID-19, you are helping us with safety and health by answering the census today. Therefore, someone will not have to come and knock on your door. Please help us.
And also, after June 1st, people feel a little more relaxed. And so can I call Vernon and ask him, can somebody come out to a big event to pass out information?
Absolutely. You can call Vernon today Every week you can call Vernon. He is open to you and will provide you updated timelines as he receives them and updated information. He can provide you, what the response rate, or he can provide you the link so you can actually go on every day and you can look at down to the track level what your community and how many of them are answering the census. That way on your program you can start out every morning saying, "Good morning, Bell County. We have today this many households have answered the census. Thank you very much. We've added 1.2%. That is fantastic."
Because our show goes from Bell County to Coryell County and McLennan County.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. Let me just say, in Coryell County today, 54.3% of the households have answered the census. In 2010, 70.51% of the households answered the census.
Oh my gosh.
In Burnett County, 51.9% of the counties have answered today. In 2010, 82.39% of the households answered the census. So, again, Vernon can provide you the website. So every morning you can begin your show and state what the new numbers are and challenge everyone. Stop what they're doing. Take 5 to 10 minutes. Answer 10 easy questions and help your community. Bring money back today.
Okay. All right. So my last question so far is I don't know if it's stretched. I don't know if the census has anything to do with it, but this, when our government passed the CARES Act for each state to get money, did the census numbers play into how much money each state got?
When they pass what now?
When they passed the CARES Act and each state got money, did
Yeah.
the numbers from the census is what they used to give each state their money?
I'm not familiar with that in particular.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I'm gonna research that one.
Yeah.
I'll research that because I want to
Now,
know.
it wouldn't surprise me that it does, but I don't want to speak out of school.
Right.
And state something. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, is there anything else you care to let us know other than fill us in?
Again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to talk to all the people of Bell County and the surrounding area. Number one, it is confidential. Go and answer it today. Number two, www.2020census.gov or on the phone, 844-330-2020, and answer the census today.
And I do have another question.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Since the pandemic and we've been living the life of Zoom lately, is it possible for, I'll say, Vern to host a Zoom webinar about the census?
Absolutely. I did one 2 nights ago in Austin, Texas with Univision, and myself and 3 other local panelists, and we did a Zoom panel discussion regarding the census. We would love that opportunity to do that.
Okay.
And Bernie can set that up.
Okay, because we're doing, since everybody else is doing Zoom and getting the word out there.
Yes, they are. And, did I do it last year? No, ma'am. Honestly, I did not. But I'm doing it today.
Because that's another way to reach our younger population, because that's what they're into. They'll do that because they can do that and do whatever else they're doing at the same time because they're listening and they're focused on it. So we need
ma'am.
I think that we need to use every avenue that's available, because through one of them, you're going to reach that person or those set of group of people. You'll reach them in that way, because either way it goes, right now, yes, some will do online, some will do on the phone call, but we'll get more to do it if we start doing things the way that all the other groups are. So since young people are into Zoom, they will do that, because that allows them to do that and go walking. They can go for a walk. and be out there and still listen to it. So that it allows it to be mobile.
It's funny you should mention that. My young men in my family have taught me actually how to get on Zoom and set up my account and do it the first time I had to do it. So I know exactly what you're saying.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, then I'm ready.
Okay, Ms. Jones, thank you again for the opportunity to talk to everyone of Bell County and the surrounding areas.
Hey, thank you.
I appreciate it. We look forward to coming back in the future, and we really appreciate having you as a partner in the 2020 census.
And thank you, and I'm glad to be a part.
Absolutely. Bye now.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, everybody, we're going to take a break and come right back. Come right back.